Dynamite download.
Coming off of that, SPD, we had a match that I couldn't wait for all week. I didn't know what it was all going to be, what it was going to entail. The bunkhouse match between the Natural Nightmares and the Butcher and the Blade. I didn't know what to expect. I knew that it was going to be a throwback. It was going to be an ode to the old school. Anything involving Dustin Rhodes, is going to be an ass kicking contest. And honestly, that can extend to the Butcher too, the Blade. All these guys are kind of got that old school. I got to say, QT Marshall. I've always he's always been kind of a one of those guys that you kind of laugh a little bit about his inclusion on the main scene. He just doesn't care. He's got the bald spot as big as mine. He doesn't have the look or the polish of some of the bigger name wrestlers, but he held his own in this match. And I think that being paired with Dustin Rhodes has gone a long way. You got two guys that are really old school that approach wrestling in a same mindset. And that works for a team like FTR too, the former tag team champions. No one would confuse Dax or Cash as the same type of athlete as the Lucha Bros, right? But they get it done because they're paddling in the same direction. They approach the matches in the same mindset, the same mentality. And I think that the Natural Nightmares, that pairing, has really brought out a lot of good in QT Marshall. I think that Dustin Rhodes is an unsung hero of this promotion. He is truly a pro, and we're gonna miss him when he's gone. When he retires one day, he's gonna be sorely missed because he's one of those guys that every time you see him in the ring, he's gonna give you a show. He's just like his brother. I mean, you could see it. Cody's got the same thing in his blood. He knows how to work a wrestling audience. They just know it. They're so good at it. What do you think of the bunkhouse match? Again, this is back-to-back weeks, SPD, where you had to sit through some serious blood and some serious hardcore wrestling. That's not your thing. What do you think? I know you gave the last match, the Kingston versus Moxley one, an elite. Does this keep the streak alive? Are you going to become an ECW fanboy soon?
I don't know. It was very interesting. I was tweeting about it during this. I was tweeting during this match. AE Dynamite DL, if you want to follow us on Twitter, or Dynamite Download on Instagram. But first things first, the Butcher and the Blades intro was awesome, in my opinion. I loved it. I loved what they did. I loved the way they look. They look scary to me, and so it was outstanding.
Looking.
And to piggyback on what you said, I tweeted about it. I said, I love seeing Dustin in the ring. And he had a pretty important role for a while, and then he kind of went radio silent in a way. And then his promo last week was a 10 out of 10, full of emotion, full of heart. It was just great. And yes, we will definitely miss him, and I hope there's no end in sight for him. He's just looking better and better in the ring. It was a brutal match, and there was a lot of color, and it was kind of making me queasy a little bit just because of how colorful it was. And it was a little bit chaotic, a lot going on. I like the ode to his father with the cowbell and all that, so that was very great. It was well done. And QT off the ladder, to piggyback like what you said, he looked strong, and that move off the ladder, it was the right finish, it was the right way to end, and it was just a little too brutal for me. As soon as the bell didn't ring yet, and it went full throttle. And so it was definitely entertaining. And, not to sidetrack, but was the red carpet around the ring for that match, or what was that for? Did you notice that?
Yeah, no, it's certainly.
I thought it was going to be for the inner circle, but it was just kind of randomly there.
Well, it might have been there. They might have had it ready for the inner circle segment because that was there after, right? That was the segment right after. But it might have been there just to hide all the blood that was. Because so this is an elite out of you, even though I'm giving it an elite. Brutal.
Yeah, all right. I will, just because, like I said, the Natural Nightmares put on a show. I like the Butcher and the Blade, and I like seeing these guys on TV so it's nice to see them all back. Just a little too colorful, but overall it was entertaining. It was different. Even though it was a little scattered, I still give it elite.
Man, we're feeling good about AEW right now. I feel like this company is certainly it's going in the right direction. They know how to deliver, and I think that they really are tapped into what the fan base wants to see. At least they must be listening to what we're talking about. 'Cause I'm elite, man. I love this. I feel like they're booking stuff that I would be booking. I'm excited for the MJF
Right.
and Wardlow joining the Inner Circle. All this stuff that is happening that I'm just geeking out about, my personal wish list of things that have happened. So this is one of those things where I agree. I think the Butcher and the Blade, their whole look has changed dramatically getting the bunny back.
Right.
It adds to that persona. You can tell it gives confidence to the team and makes them more polished looking and presentation. The match itself, I grew up as one of those kids that, like, my parents, I watched WWF whatever and WCW, but as I became a teenager and I kind of rebelled a little bit, I would sneak and watch some ECW and things like that when I shouldn't have. And I liked ECW, and that's what really that kind of helped make me aware of wrestling outside of the mainstream. And so this match made me feel like I was watching some old school Dudleys or Tommy Dreamer or Raven. This made me feel like I was watching like some old school gangsters. It was violent. They were just beating the hell out of each other with whatever they could find.
I mean, look at these guys. Look like they were in a backyard brawl.
And that's not even showing the Blade.
I'm not going to show that though.
Blade was literally left in the middle of the ring, just covered in blood. It was a really brutal match. And what was nice about it too, to me, I know it got a little chaotic, but some of the actual utilization of the weapons, the utilization of the environment that was around them, they had some really smart executions of moves. Like, I was impressed by how they interacted with the environment. You didn't see a bunch of like just kind of garbage getting thrown around. These guys were pros. The more I see of the Butcher and the Blade, the more I recognize what Zepp always saw in those guys, and I see how talented they are. I personally think that this pairing was a great combination because you could see Dustin Rhodes and the Butcher. They were just going hoss fest. They were just throwing blows at each other because they just knew that each one could take it. It was a phenomenal match in the sense that it was so different than what we see from like a Cage versus Seidel earlier in the night. It stood out in a good way. And it was an example of AEW recognizing that they could cater to multiple different audiences. Certainly, it makes me wonder, is this the end of that feud or not? It was a bloody send-off. They certainly would be. I think it would be a good idea maybe to move on from this.
I agree. They should move on from that.
It was a very definitive send-off. It was bloody. It was brutal. And I think that Butcher and the Blade can kind of head into another direction with what we talked about with the Death Triangle and Kingston's family. So that's